Good morning and welcome to Thermal Control Magazine's live interactive session on indoor air quality outlook. The Indian HVAC market is expected to grow at a CAGR of 16% at $31,598.6 million by 2030, and the market for air quality monitoring is expected to increase at a CAGR of 5% by 2026. The outbreak of COVID 19 has brought the world to a new normal where efficient HVAC systems have become a vital requirement to breathe a quality and hygienic air. Interestingly, even the Finance Ministry has proposed an infusion of 2,217 crores for 42 urban centers to promote clean air and to tackle the burgeoning air problem uh, towards pollution. IAQ refers to the air quality within and around buildings and structures, especially as it relates to the health and comfort of building occupants. Indoor air quality also refers to the health of the entire people. Understanding the controlling indoor pollutants can reduce the risk of health concerns. Today, on this note, you're going to be a part of an interactive session on indoor air quality outlook, where industry's leading experts, IAQ experts, will talk about integration of technologies and equipments to cater the ever-increasing demand for indoor air cooling quality outlook in India. They will also talk about the challenges pertaining to the environment and how the industries and the government policies can play a pivotal role in endorsing and improving the air quality and air cooling indoor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and privilege for me to introduce you to our today's distinguished speakers, Mr. Deepu Manuel, Product Global Head, VRF, for Living Environment Division at Mitsubishi Electric Limited. Mr. Udayan Banerjee, Head Operations at Clairco, Mr. Vaibhav Pitale, Managing Director, India and Southwest Asia at Beliveau, and Mr. Gaurav Vasudev, Managing Director at GEPS Engineering and Consultancy. So, delegates, get ready for an interactive and engaging session on indoor air quality outlook. Start with our first sessions for speaker. I would like to invite Mr. Deepu Manuel. He has been associated with Mitsubishi Electric Private Limited since 2011 and is presently positioned as Product Group Head for Variable Refrigerant Flow Living Environment Division. He is responsible for managing product training, new product developments, PSI management, and business planning. Today, Mr. Deepu will talk about the significance of IAQ for commercial and public spaces. So, delegates, let's welcome Mr. Deepu Manuel.
Thank you so much, Mekha. Thank you, everyone. I would like to start this panel discussion with Mr. Deepu. So, Mr. Deepu, recently I was watching a TV commercial about a brand, air conditioning brand, and they are claiming that this air conditioner is going to keep coronaviruses away. Okay. So now common sentiments which get developed among people is that yes, air conditioners are very imperative when we talk about inside air quality.
See, coronavirus is still not fully understood by everybody, and it is not yet released for testing for lab level because we have not yet controlled coronavirus. But normally does, including our company, like we take a similar virus which is maybe smaller in size of coronavirus as a capacity, and whether we can uh, eliminate or reduce the virus by passing through filters or by inducing other kind of like negative ions or any other thing which can deactivate the virus. So it is like a hierarchical level of advertisement where we see that, okay, we have tested it with another virus which is smaller than or maybe more deadlier than coronavirus. So it will be effective on the coronavirus into that. So all the claims comes with its own option or asterisk which says that XYZ are the conditions into that. So I like to limit my answer to this only, right? Since I am from industry side. See, from Mitsubishi side, one side what we have done is through filtration by trying to catch the small size particles and even maybe possibly to the sizes of the viruses into the filtration, and which gradually dies, or maybe even coating these filters with certain kind of chemicals which can deactivate the microorganisms. On another side, by using an active way of inducing kind of ions into the air, which will, when it in touch in contact with the viruses, will try to diffuse the viruses into that. So there is a one is a static way, one is an active way of controlling the viruses into that. But all this is under the assumption that the air will pass through all these filters or these mediums into that. So that is the way we trying to reduce the spread of the viruses from one side of the building or one end of the building to other side, or from one person to other person.
Immediate after this recent budget, we see that there is a expected significant growth in the cost of parts, air condition as well as air quality solutions. How do you view this? How it is going to impact?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Obviously, if you really look at all the companies, in order to be competitive, have to work on the efficiency bit. But I think it's not only working on the efficiency bit; is also about the products that you bring in the market, which obviously plays a very important role. So that is the reason the company like Belimo invests about 8%, 8.3% of their global revenues into even innovation to ensure our products and services are meeting to the future changing market trends. Obviously, from the budget perspective, obviously there has been a significant sort of for the Make in India campaign, wherein the government is sort of pushing all the manufacturers like global organization to sort of manufacture products locally. And obviously the dynamics have to be seen in terms of different companies have different dynamics in terms of economies of scale. But obviously it's a good step which the government has taken, and also government has also spoken about the raw material imports. Maybe it can be higher if you get the raw materials from outside, which actually the focus is to move the entire production locally. And obviously, looking at efficiency improvement, which every country has gone through, even India will adapt to the new ways of being more efficient. Because from a digital perspective, that digitalization is making the things more competitive, right? And that is something also the our industry is focusing on. Obviously our entire value proposition comes from innovative solutions which are more future oriented, right? So that's been the focus, and it's always will be the focus of Balimo as an if you make the products more efficient, the ROI is less than 1 year, 2 years, right? uh, so it doesn't play a very important role when, especially coming from Balimo, which contributes to 0.3% of the entire project value. The cost from the investment perspective is very low.
I would like to take the same example. We all see a cigarette case which says it is injurious to health, and but still we consume it. It's the same thing until unless we don't understand um, uh, the main problem which I understood. When we were talking about promoters or something. When you go out, if I build my own house for my own consumption, I would put the best into it. The moment I am going to produce something for, rental or for somebody else, how much money I'm going to put is not my concern, because I am renting it out, and then the whole lead goes down to the guy who's going to use the premises. So now, if the premises has been taken by a big MNC, they will put the best products into it. The moment it's going to go down to a company on a smaller level, and so on and so on, the product quality is going to differ, the technology which is going to go differ. So somewhere this kind of thing has not been spoken openly in the market. We always say that we are forced to breathe what is available to us, but we have never been taught about quality of air what we are breathing in. We have been always talking about kind of temperatures what we are going to have. Okay, I need to have 21-degree temperature and 40-degree or 55% of humidity. That's what is my indoor environment is based. But no one has spoken about how much is the CO2 level is going to be inside. They are not concerned about the TVOCs level. The moment this has been spoken about, people will slowly understand, and then they will not be worried about putting too much amount of money, because today everything is connected to your ROI. The moment you show ROI, I think the product is sellable, but there is no factor which can give you an ROI of your lungs that, okay, if you use this, your lungs are going to be 7 years more healthier. So this is to be, something to be discussed like it. So this was my view. We need to educate people as much as we can about indoor air quality and what we need to look at, and then people will understand, and slowly this is going to be, stuff coming into existence.
No, completely agree with that. Education is very important, and like he was saying, so it is basically about wellness. So we can't, relate wellness with ROI. So we can't say ki I will not drink clean water because it's expensive. So it's wellness. So it's as simple as if we compare air with water, the logic becomes very clear. So the problem is that bad water is immediately we can feel bad water quality. That's why people are very concerned about water quality. But air, unfortunately, that awareness is obviously in the last decade it has improved a lot, and with passing time we hope that people will not ask. With us also it happens. So we are a startup company. Nobody knows us as a brand, right? When we go there and we pitch our commercial, they are like, nobody has ever thought about paying for clean air as such. So we are saying we are a clean air company. So more traditionally air has been free. So people are asking, why should I pay for it? Then the whole conversation goes into it's about wellness. So that's what Mr. Gaurav is touching upon. Wellness cannot have a ROI impact, but obviously we have to, for business purposes, we have to do some calculations and show them that there is some ROI.
Yeah, so obviously I agree with Mr. Gaurav. Obviously, the big part is creating this awareness. If you really see this session, maybe it will impact the life of 284 people who are attending this session, right? And if this 284 people start go and educating the society and even spell out some of the key aspects of what were being discussed, right? Even some three key takeaways that we inhale 12,000 liters of water liters of air every day. 90% of our life we spend indoor, right? And the last message which Mr. Gaurav said, when it comes to person individualization, I'm ready to pay. When it comes to collectiveness, I'm not ready to pay, right? This mindset shift, if we are able to make it, I think we have still achieved what was the objective of this IAQ session. And then obviously industry is going to sort of take the lead in ensuring that we take this, because we personally believe, if we really believe in the sustainability of the society, this is today one of the most important areas that we all need to focus, especially we come from this area of our expertise, right? And this is where all the global organization will collectively focus in order to have a sustainable future for every one of us.
Yeah, I like to say one point, like basically in India, we associate with the largest, the biggest, all these kind of words, but we never talk about the best or the best efficient or the wellness, as you said. Nobody is taking care that, okay, my grandfather lived 100 years. I mean, we are more worried about that, how much money he had or how big he was. So these kind of maybe for years we are associated with the biggest and largest idea only. We never talk about the efficiency or the best in that. So it's a conceptual change which we need to drive into the next generations. So maybe we can see a generational shift gradually.
Dust pollution is one of the most important aspect there, and we didn't mention about that.
Right. So dust pollution, basically particulate matter is what technically means dust, right? So when we talk about dust, it includes particulate matter 2.5 PM, 10 PM1, even NOx and SOx, vehicular emissions also contribute to particulate matter. So in India, 80 to 85% pollution is particulate matter, and that's why the major focus is around that. So yeah, so that is actually causing a lot of deaths as well. Also, another fact that we ignore is that residential cooking. So I was looking at this metric. So the percentage of contribution to pollution for residential cooking, especially in rural areas, is just 7%. But the cause of death is residential cooking because of the coal and the soot that is flowing around in the rural areas. So that is also part of the dust pollution alone. So right now, like we were mentioning, the awareness is, still limited to tier 1 cities. In tier 2, tier 3 cities, rural areas, people are still not bothered about. So that's what the next shift has to be there, because I am from a tier 2 city. From there nobody talks about pollution at all, even though it's an industrial area, but nobody even thinks about it. So now in tier 1 cities, that conversation is happening, especially in Delhi NCR. Even recently, this list of most polluted cities was released. Even Bangalore featured in that list, while Bangalore is considered as one of the cleanest cities in the country, right? So in India, most of the out of 20 most polluted cities in the world, top 12 are in 12 are in India. So that is the state we are in. So in cities, at least that conversation is happening, which is a good thing. But that has to go towards, if you look at the government data for the entire northern region, your UP, Rajasthan, Gujarat, NCR, Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, all the cities are very, very polluted. But most people are not even aware about that. So we know one of our suppliers is in Aligarh. They make indoor air quality monitors, but they themselves don't measure in their own premises. They just take it as a business. Yeah, we are making and we are selling. They are not bothered. They are working in very, very hazardous conditions. I went there and I was like, yeah, you are making air quality monitors, at least measure it in your place. But that's the level of concern that people have. It's very, very transactional right now. But yeah, obviously that has to be a focus, and we are, as a company, we as a brand, as a startup, we are trying to educate people and talk about this a lot.
ESP manufacturing facilities where dust pollution is rampant. What are the some of the simple methods to maintain air quality there?
Okay, so in manufacturing facilities, I think there are electronic air cleaners, because our regular air filters, the passive filters are not very effective because they will get clogged immediately. Either they have to be self-cleaning, or you have to use electronic cleaners, which are basically electrostatic precipitators for manufacturing setups, because electrostatic precipitators have been designed specially for industrial applications where the dust is very, very high. So I think that can be a solution for manufacturing setups.
In the view of COVID scenario, how HVAC sector got evolved and produced innovative technologies to deal with that.
So we come with active and passive filtrations for recirculated air, where we try to trap the particles of above certain sizes. And for microorganisms, it can be creating negative ions, which will, when come in contact with the microorganisms, will try to destroy its cell membranes and like that. So for HVAC system, as long as the air is circulated through all these predefined filters and other thing, we can try to clean up air by a little bit. But whenever the contaminant is getting generated inside, till it reaches and passes through the HVAC, it is going to be affecting other people. So somebody at the end of the building carrying a virus and spreading, by the time it will spread to so many people, till it reaches the air conditioning systems and get filtered and goes out. So HVAC system act overall as like a passive system only, because human to human spread of viruses and other thing cannot be stopped, because there is no barrier for air conditioning come in between. Best we can try to do is managing the airflow in such a way that after it passing through a particular person or any human beings, it have limited contact with some other person and goes back to the system back. All this way we can try to improve this kind human to human spread by a better designing.
I would like to see that even presently our government is giving more emphasis and focus on energy conservation, water conservation. What about air?
I think if you adapt the sustainability global goals, honestly, right, which every country will have to do, it's just a matter of time. The focus on these topics is also going to rise, right? WHO clear agenda is sustainability global goals, which will be sort of mandated. I think it's just a matter of time where every country is going to pick it up, because COVID-19 has changed the entire scenario in the way we were looking at, right? We never thought about such a pandemic before, and everybody was saying obviously about digitalization growth, and everything came to a standstill. I think this awareness is there. I think the focus at this point of time is handling the pandemic, right? But obviously the government policies are going to just be defined in order to ensure, and we have seen in Mumbai, Mumbai without having vehicles on roads, it was a totally different experience in terms of getting to see the blue skies as compared to what was before. We are not able to see the blue skies. So this is just matter of time. Obviously, from the Indian context, it change just take time for the things to get regulated. But from the global perspective, I think sustainability goals will define the future for every country.
No, I agree with Mr. Vaibhav. Again, my question is, जो दिखता ही नहीं उसके लिए परवाह क्यों करें? So, okay, whom should you blame when you can't see it? PM 2.5 is something which is much thinner than your hair, and nobody is. It's only the commercial thing which is driving the PM 2.5. It is not actually people are worried about PM 2.5. Nobody worried about how it has been generated. Shall I do something to control it when it is being generated? That is how the moment people will start understanding. I've been listening to all my colleagues here. Everybody was mentioning Delhi NCR and pollution is coming from Haryana, Punjab, and all. But let me tell you, it's just the 30% which comes from these crops burning and all. The rest of it is construction and the travel, the vehicles and all. It's not only the crops which is adding up to it. In Delhi, if I compare 2000 and 2020, we don't have a much of diesel vehicle today. We all are on CNG. So earlier, if I use a white shirt and go out for 2 hours, and my collars will be black, the moment I came back. But today we can at least sustain that. So this is how the shift has been coming into place. We all need to tell our colleagues, our family, our friends, and everybody that look into air. Try to make it better for everyone. The moment they will start understanding air, where the pollutions are coming from, I think then the commercial will start pushing it to blame to the government that, okay, now this government is polluting there more than the previous one. This is how the situation has been here. A lack of information, a lack of spoken agendas. Water is very easy because you can see the water quality in a bottle, in a glass, but air you cannot fill in a glass and see the quality. That's where the problem is. The moment we start understanding, it will start changing the whole scenario.
Yeah, and also Gaurav, this is a great business opportunity emerging, right?
It is. When we talk about the CSR activities, it is a part of CSR activities as well. I am working with a lot of my, customers and all. They are working on outdoor air purification under their CSR activities. We are not just selling a product; it's an opportunity, as Udayan said in the beginning. Every challenge is an opportunity for somebody else. So this is a challenge for all of us, and it's an opportunity for all of us. We can add something and else from our own houses and start building up a big thing. And of course, this is a raw area. This is a kind of area, as I like his example of Aligarh. I can give you many examples like the suppliers who build the filters also, but their own premises are such in a shabby place and it's such a bad indoor environment. They have a lot of TVOCs of kind of solutions they use to bind the filters with each other and many other things. So they are not worried about themselves. I belong to Punjab, so I visited a couple of factories in Jalandhar. Jalandhar is known for a sports sports equipment city, and you won't believe the supplier which is supplying the golf balls to international standards, their own facilities are in mess. They are earning, but they don't know how to use it. They have a money, but they don't know where the solution is, how to put a solution in their own premises. So they might afford, but lack of information is which is creating all these problems. We are working with a lot of high pressure die casting companies where we provide ESP solutions from Germany. There also, I was giving a kind of scenario. Why should one use it? Why they don't use it? And I given an example to one of the managers there that your guy who is on the production, he'll be more effective He said, okay, I have enough of labor. Even if one guy goes off one day, I really don't bother. But these guys, they are coming from the villages. They treat the environment in their factory and the village is same, they assume. But over the period of continuous working for 10 years, 15 years, they come up with something or else in their lungs as an infection or allergy or something. And their productivity overall goes down drastically, which cannot be measured. That is how the gap between two things and we have seen while working with the industry. But I hope this is going to come up and we have a better uh, environments in future.
See, out of the various air pollutions, only the particulate matter is only, you can say, visible or measure easily. So since all these filters has created a very eye-catching display of air between an air inlet and outlet, like your air quality is 400, now it is 30. So this is driving the sales. So we are only reducing the particle content or dust particles in the air. All other air pollutions, we are leaving it free. But it is, can say, like something is better than nothing situation. So at least some pollutants will get reduced for the people, and over a period of time, the learning curve will come in effect, and people will learn that, okay, other than PM 2.5, other pollutants are there. So let me go for another filter which may filter out more contaminants and pollutants. So in a nutshell, we can say this is the starting of awareness of the air pollution in India, where people started buying filters which they can at least we can imagine or understand, and then gradually they move into buying or incorporating good air filtration systems which can control the overall air quality. So it is like moving from a normal phone to a smartphone, where nobody knows how the smartphone phone works, but people uses it. So it likes moving from that, we can say. So in future, air filtration market will be very big, but the current filtration market is just a starting point.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely, it's a step in the right direction. At least people are buying purifiers and putting it, which is a good thing. And like Mr. Tipu said, as and when they start, at least they're starting to invest in that. And as the awareness increases, they will start investing more and understanding more. And I think that should be a part of school education as well, because children are going to take these decisions 10 years down the line if they are more aware about. So when I was in school, air pollution was just a paragraph in the social studies book, right? So now it has to be a chapter, I think, at least, so that children are aware of that, and then that awareness will be much better. And even in schools, we see there is no air purification in most schools, which is again very, very important, especially in the post-COVID era. Schools are reopening and parents are not very comfortable sending their children to schools, which is impacting their studies, because no matter how much online education happens, like Mr. Vaibhav was also mentioning, that interacting with people, social skills, all these things are getting behind, right? So that has to be, we were also mentioning about government intervention. So I think that can be one of the, before teaching coding to kids, at least teach them about air pollution. That's what I believe.
Can you share, how digitalization is going to, impact IUQ in a positive way?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time, because when you talk about measurement becomes a very important topic when you talk about a IAQ, right? And hence measuring of temperature, measuring of relative humidity, measuring of CO2. Now, if you're able to connect the sensors to the BMS and have digitalization linked to it through IoT, right? Before I enter a room, I just want to give you an example. I would like to switch on the air conditioning in my room, right? Now, how can I do it? I have an app which tells me, okay, the oxygen level or the carbon dioxide level is at X percentage, the temperature at Y percentage. Even before I enter, I get on by my car, I switch on a button which activates the air conditioning system, which ensure that when I go into the room, it is at optimal level in terms of temperature, in terms of relative humidity, in terms of CO2, right? And that is a very small example in how you can do it, and you can extend it to a lot of things. But most of the companies are moving into this direction. Most of the companies are making the products which are enabled sort of with IoT, and that's also the future trend in terms of digitalization and automation.
And it's been a pleasure again to speak on indoor air quality. This is kind of a passion which we, as a company, has picked up. And listening to Mr. Deepu, Mr. Weber, Udayan, we all are on the same page, and we all felt one thing, that we need to create a lot of awareness to upcoming generations. I really like what Udayan mentioned. Before teaching a coding, we should teach them about indoor air quality. That is something which is our future. And talking about digitalization, yes, we all have a new technologies available, but again, it has been kept in kind of a hidden shell somewhere. We need to speak about those technologies much more today with our customers. They may not buy it, but they can pick up from it. And this technology may not be applicable for that particular project, but it can be applicable for somewhere else. And that is how the whole gamut will start working. Filtration is very important, which we all agree to, whether we talk of filtration of outer air coming in, or we speak about indoor air which is traveling, recirculating to the system. So all these parameters which we put it together at one place. Again, I'm using Mr. Weber's remark, like we inhale about 12,000 gallons of air every day, 15 kilos of air every day. 90% we spend inside, and we are forced to breathe what is next to our nose. So if we pick up these three parameters and we go out and speak to everybody, not only to our customers, but to family and friends, that will start giving some kind of tickling in their mind, and they will start looking more into this area.
We hope you enjoyed today's session thoroughly. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Mr. Deepu Manuel, Mr. Udayan Banerjee, Mr. Gaurav Vasudev, and Mr. Vaibhav Pitale for being there. With this, we would like to conclude today's session and announce closing of today's session. I request you to stay tuned with us for more such sessions. Until then, thank you and goodbye.